Hello, and welcome to the Living Scary Podcast.
Podcast where we talk about real-to-real horror so you can live vicariously through us.
I'm a poor man's GLaDOS, and I love to watch and talk about horror movies. My name's Logan. It's been a minute since we've done that.
It's been a while. And I'm yet another dead dog in a horror movie, McCall, and I like to talk about true crime and murder, but not today, bitch. It's
Today
a review.
It's a movie review.
We're doing a review.
It has been a minute since we've been recording. What have you been up to, McCall? Something that would keep us from recording?
Yes, I moved into a new place.
Yay!
So,
round of applause.
Yay!
A home.
A home that I own with my husband.
That I owe the horses.
And everything is everywhere all the time. Like
Everything everywhere all at once.
Every room has boxes. There's just shit. I'm past here. I am past here. I was trying to get in. I have this extra spare bedroom where I was like, I could do my podcast. I'm in a little room and it's just covered in bullshit. And I'm like, I need to declutter. I need to Marie Kondo, whatever her name is, my life. I don't understand.
Yeah, that was it.
That was right. Okay, good. But everything brings me joy. What am I supposed to do, Marie? You tell me.
I agree. It's like I find joy in a lot of my possessions. I keep a lot of things.
Yeah. Brendan and I, we have a bunch of Sterilite bins full of just shit. And we have multiple keepsakes box. This is from and I'm like, but I can't throw it away.
You know, a keepsake that I have been looking for with a bit of urgency, but not it's I need it, but every time I go back to mom and dad's place, I'm like, where the fuck is my lanyard from Disney World with all of my pins on it? I don't know why I was like, where the fuck is it? But I was the other day, it just possessed me. Oh no, I remember why. Because Jack, Charlie's brother, got me pins from Disneyland, I believe. And I wanted to put them on the lanyard with all my other pins. But I was looking through all of my keepsakes while I was putting it on my curio cabinet up here. And I was like, the fuck is my lanyard? So I've been going home and looking through my shit. I'm like, I don't know. If young Logan got rid of it at some point, I want to go back and I'm going to put him down.
I'm going to kill myself in the past.
Yeah. I will cease this future.
I kept those in a weird reverence. I kept them folded in my religious cloths in the back of my closet. So
no, I could totally see that's where I could see that me doing the same thing where it's I put it in this special place somewhere and I won't find it until we're going through mom and dad's stuff after they died.
I hid it away from myself because I knew that I can't be trusted.
It was along with your special rock.
My special rock is with me in my stupid new house, and I can't throw it away. For those of you who are listening and are not my family, it
was a sibling story, I think.
Was it? Did I?
I think so.
Yeah, we probably told it.
Well, no, tell again.
We went to the Renaissance Festival, and I was middle school.
I think you were a little younger than that.
I was younger than that? I don't remember. I just remember I was very awkward, so
you were a thief when you were a child.
I wasn't a thief. Okay, that one time I was a thief. But this time, hand to God, I remember picking it up and looking at it and being like, oh, that's cool.
And putting it in your pocket.
Later that day, it was just in my pocket and I was like, holy fuck. And I've not, when I stole as a baby, I was a baby. So that was, But I am now older and I had never actually stolen something on purpose. And I was like, I'm a horrible person. And now I have it in a little box wrapped up again in my little religious cloths. And I keep it and I look at it with guilt still. So that's cool.
Two things. One, you still can't go to that store at the Renaissance Fair.
I don't like going in there.
Second, you keep mentioning your religious cloths. What religious cloths are you talking about?
I am literally, I just think it's funny to say it. When you find when you find the tome of Jesus Christ and it's wrapped in those gossamer cloths.
You found the Ark of the Covenant.
Yes, yeah. Whatever they wrap that shit in is also what I wrap my apparently Disney pins and my stolen rock. So that's cool.
I have those pins somewhere, though. They upset me. They vex me. Yeah, I don't think I would have gotten rid of it. That's one of those things that...
You'd remember if you got rid of it or lost it, you know?
Oh, wow.
I also don't know where mine are, though.
Yeah. If anything, I think it might be in the fanny pack with the little Mickey on it. But I can't remember where I put that horror.
We had a lot of
Disney shit. But at the same time,
shit.
if I did, because, well, it would have... Because my autograph book was in that fanny pack. And I have that autograph book. It's right over there.
Yeah, you flipped it out before, and I was like, what the fuck? Why do you have that?
Yeah. I was dumb. with that book. Anyway, we do need to talk about that.
You were dumb.
What are we talking about?
What we need to talk about is M3GAN. We both watched it. Also, you keep freezing on me. Am I doing that to you?
Yes, you absolutely are. And I don't know whose internet it is.
It's probably mine because nothing works and I am in a pit of hell.
Look around you, Helen. We're in the 7th circle of hell. We're at the threshold of hell. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's where we are right now.
I'm not saying it's you or anything, but I'm pinging in at like almost 700 megabytes per second right now. So
how do you get those numbers?
Get it together, I guess.
What do I look up?
You do an Ookla test. An Ookla test.
What?
Ookla.
Oh, okay. It knew what I was saying. I spelled it.
And then it tests your speed.
You guys were wondering.
We're doing this live for the audience.
To know how shitty McCall's any electronic she owns, because they all break. It's like not connecting. So that's like a really bad sign.
That's a really bad sign.
It might be me, you guys. Oh dear.
Oh no, this does not sound promising.
No, it's not good.
What did we clock in? Are we clocking like mom and dad's house numbers?
Download speed is 42 megabytes.
I'm sorry, what now?
42 Mbps. What the
megabytes?
Fuck is that? Okay,
megabytes.
All right. And then my upload speed is 9.4.
What the fuck, McCall?
I don't know why it's that bad.
What the?
We're paying for like it's like 200. Like we have it should be 200. So it's probably because I'm far away from the router. Is that a thing?
I don't know. I mean, it could be because you're in a different room somewhere. I'm so glad this is riveting content for our for our listeners.
I'm so sorry, you guys. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Let's just keep going.
I do. Anyway, we watched M3GAN. Did you watch the...
Speaking of technology, we watched M3GAN.
Did you watch the edited version or the...
I did, because I was in the same boat that you were in, where I didn't know that there was an unrated version until after we'd watched the damn movie.
I was pretty bummed out that I didn't watch the unrated version, because that was my main complaint, was I needed more grotesque deaths or something.
See, and that actually might be where we're different. I actually did not mind the suggestion of death. I didn't it was because I'm inundated with violent horror movies all the time. And there are plenty of PG-13 horror movies that are successful that don't really have too much in the way of violence, like Drag Me to Hell from 2009. That's one I should probably do for the podcast.
That was PG-13?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I would love to hear about that.
It was actually pretty good. It was definitely similar to this, where it's like, it was a horror movie, but there was also some like humor to it. Like there was a little bit of schlockiness to it. It was, but like in a good way. It was enjoyable.
Okay, I like that. I'm into it.
But anyway, M3GAN though.
M3GAN though. Also, I'm looking at the description and I don't remember the little girl's name. Is it Katie or Caddy?
It's Katie, but like Mean Girls.
But it's spelled like Mean Girls. Great.
Yes.
I never saw it spelled out, so I didn't know that she was one of those kids.
Yes, it was very that.
If her parents lived, they would have had a different daughter named like Kaylee, but it would be spelled like with a GHT or some dumb shit. I hate that.
Right. No offense to all the Kayleys with a T in your name. But
Kayleys and the Michaelicas.
So I'm going to say right off the bat before we get into it, Miss M3GAN, the robot, whatever, she was serving cunt on a stick. Like when she walked into the house and took those glasses off so severely, I was like, oh, what?
Serving.
I was like, Miss Bitch, Miss Thing, she's serving. And they're whipping out all these human units for her wig. I remember at one point they brought out like this shitty blonde wig, and then I was like that. And then they showed M3GAN the next scene, and I was like, that is not the wig that they pulled out. That was a hard front bang piece. And then they pull out, and now she's wearing like this really nice center parted human unit.
I don't like that you're saying human unit. I don't like that.
That's what it's called.
Well, it's weird. We're talking about a doll that's, I guess, a human unit at this point.
That's true, kind of.
It's kind of freaky.
But this movie was made in 2022. We're a little behind on this one in terms of reviewing it. But it was definitely one that was on our radar for a while. It was directed by Gerard Johnstone. The writers were Akela Cooper and James Wan of Conjuring fame. And all those, he's basically responsible for most of the
new
horror movies of new horror out there, besides like Peele, like besides Jordan Peele, like him and James Wan are like really giving it to us in the horror movie department. Two. Yeah, I'm sure there are others. Before anyone comes for me, I'm sure that there are others, but those two are just the two off the top of my head that are like really serving it to me. Oh no, there is one more. Oh my God, who's the guy who does Hereditary? I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he's also serving it.
Shit.
He's also giving it to me. Ari Aster, yes, Ari Aster is absolutely yes. Ari Aster is absolutely giving it to me as well. And I'm sure that there are others, but we're going to move on.
But continue regardless.
I can't sit here jerking off all these directors. I only have two hands and one mouth. Anyway, so
just those three then.
Yeah, just those three. But top build cast, we got Allison Williams, who the whole movie I was like, where the fuck have I seen you? And she was in Get Out, and she was also in The Perfection.
Oh, wait.
The cello movie that I did for you forever ago.
Which girl is this? The main girl? The
main girl.
Woman?
Yes, the adult woman.
Okay. I was thinking that you're talking about the little girl.
No, the little girl I also have seen in things, too.
We had to look her up because I recognized her immediately.
I did not recognize her because I did not see the movie series that she was pretty much featured in all the way through. I think I made it through, of the 10 episodes, I genuinely think I made it through 5 episodes of The Haunting of Hill House.
Really?
And then I said, I'm good.
I'm okay.
I'm really bad with series, like with TV shows. I'm really bad. Even with this one, where it's like the whole series was sitting right in front of me on a silver platter. All I had to do was just sit and watch it. It wasn't like I was waiting for episodes to come out. I could have just done it. But
they're so good.
And then it was when I was living with mom and dad at the time, and they were like, "Want to watch it with us?" And I was like, "I'm good." I don't know why.
I don't either.
Now I have to start it over.
If we're talking about directors, the guy that makes all of those series, because he always does like some kind of Halloween-y creepy thing.
Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, and now I saw there's Haunting in Venice or something.
So I don't know about that, but he did Haunting of Hill House, he did Bly Manor, then oh my God, the vampire one.
Midnight Mass.
Midnight Mass, which oh my God, sploosh. I loved that priest so much.
Oh, that guy who was in New Adventures of Old Christine. Yes,
Matthew. God damn, I love him. And then he did Midnight Club, which was gonna
was that his?
Yeah. Then he was gonna have 2 seasons of that at least. Like he finished the first season and he set it all up and then they canned it. So we had to look up like what he was going to do with it because I was super invested. And now he's doing the House of Usher.
Oh, interesting.
But like,
I definitely only saw the Midnight Club through Trixie and Katya, watching it and reacting to it on like because Trixie and Katya, these drag queens I like, they do recap show on Netflix where they'll watch the shows and they'll just kind of talk about them. And so I watched it through that. Did
you like it?
I thought it looked cool. Like I thought it looked like something I'd be interested in. Also, fucking Nancy Thompson from there's a character's name in Nightmare on Elm Street, but I can't think of Heather Logenfeld. Logenfield. Something like that. Logenkamp. Thank you. Heather Logenkamp. Thank you.
With the wins
2 for 2. 2 for 2. Yes, Heather Logenkamp. She's in that. So
she's
can't go wrong with her.
Headmaster or whatever.
Yes, she is. She's the head person.
The head bitch.
Head bitch.
It's
the grand
so good.
high bitch. Also, anyway, we're talking about M3GAN.
We're talking about M3GAN, you guys.
It's been a day. I don't know about you, McCall. It's been a day. We've also got other people. We got Ronnie Chang, Amy Donald, Jenna Davis. Someone I know from it, who you might know, is Brian Jordan Alvarez. He was in a YouTube series called The Gay and Wonderful Life of Caleb Gallo or something like that. That's where like the sometimes things that are expensive are worse. That's where that comes from.
That's really he's in funny. That. Should we start?
He's also
let's just go right into it.
Sure, let's get into it. All right, so first things first, we're in a car. There's like we have a I was confused. I genuinely thought this was a real commercial for a hot second until like it got to like the what happens when your pet dies, and I was like, oh, never mind.
Okay, sorry.
It looked a little too real until they said that, and then I was like, oh, never mind. Okay, I don't know about you. So this opening scene, I already knew what was going to happen in this opening scene.
I knew immediately it was going to happen.
And not even because I had like read a synopsis or anything like that. I knew just based on what we were looking at, what was going to happen. Like crazy snow, parents are driving, kids irritating in the background.
Oh, yeah. That's a recipe for the parents dying and the kid feeling guilty their whole life.
Yes. They did not give me any reason to care about these parents.
Oh, interesting.
Like, okay, I was telling it to Charlie, I would compare it like a movie that did a similar kind of opening, Disturbia. Disturbia, the dad is with Shia LaBeouf and they have a very similar car scene.
Yeah.
And they make you care about that dad. They make you care about their relationship as father and son. And then they take it away so that you can understand Shia LaBeouf's feelings as the movie goes on and why he punches out his teacher, who absolutely deserved to be punched out.
We 100%. Should do that movie. Disturbia is so good.
That's actually a really good movie. But we're talking about M3GAN. That's a really good
point. I didn't even think about that. I mean, I cared that they died because they're parents and she's now alone.
It was banking a little too much on that, though. It was banking a little too much on you ascribing care because they were her parents. But let's be honest, the only view that you saw of their parents were them fighting with each other and getting angry at the little girl. That's all you saw. And so when they died, I was like, okay, she's better off.
She's going to go live with her rich tech aunt now? Whatever.
Yeah. So like, and I didn't even know it was the rich tech aunt, but I was like, they didn't give me a reason to. So like, that is the first misstep is now if they were like, because like the girl at one point mentions like, oh, she really wanted me to go skiing or whatever. Now, if the mom was like looking back and be like, I'm so excited for you to come up and see this cabin. It's going to be so beautiful. We're going to have so much fun. I'm so excited to see you ski for the first time. And like, if we had like moments of love and affection between the family,
maybe just one positive interaction, really.
Yeah, maybe I would have cared a little more. But it was banking a little too much on the fact that it's their parents, so I have to feel sorry for them.
Okay.
That sounded really harsh. That sounded really harsh. Way harsh, Tell.
Sorry for her.
I did. She's a young girl. Okay, first of all, the girl was like 14 and she was supposed to be playing an 8-year-old. And she's like, what?
What?
She was like, what? Okay, that 14 is a little too high. But she was like supposed to be like, she was supposed to be an 8-year-old. She was like 11 at the time of this.
She seemed much older than I think what they wanted her to be.
Yeah, when she was like, what's condensation? I'm like, I'm sorry, you have a mortgage. You know what condensation is.
Yeah, I definitely thought either just make her older, make her character a little older, or you don't have to make her that young. We're good.
Because you could make her a little older, and then because then it could kind of drive home that, like, if you're really going for like they kind of have a weird strained relationship. And then if she is a little older and they dies, maybe the girl could have feelings about like, the last thing I did before they died was getting in a fight with them, and now I have repressed emotions about that. And then maybe she could have weird feelings about M3GAN being like, okay, it's a doll. I'm too old for dolls. And then M3GAN's like, yeah, but I'll kill people for you.
So I feel like,
and I don't have fingerprints that can be traced back to anything.
Yeah. So her parents die.
That was the first scene. And it took us that long to get through the first fucking scene.
First scene, her parents die, and it's sad. Some of us were sadder than others. Some of us with souls.
I was like, I was looking at it from a movie. Like, I was like, you didn't give me a reason to care. Besides the fact that it was sad and it was the parents.
I was looking at it as a human being who's like, wow, I'd be sad if my parents died and I was 8 years old.
I did think that too, yes.
And I do think the little girl does a really good job.
She's really good. Yeah, not
acting. I think she looked really fucked up. And I was like, yeah, you would be.
Yeah, I don't want this to besmirch the actors in any way. This is not like saying that they did a bad. I felt like it was a little bit of a weaker part in the writing. But you go. I'll just say then we kind of move forward. So we have my favorite name in the world. We have Nicole's sister, Gemma. Nicole is the daughter. We have Gemma. I'm like, why is everyone named fucking Gemma?
It keeps coming up. I don't know why.
But anyway, we're not in England, so I can't even say it's that.
No, she's just a regular old American. And she works for a high-tech toy company called Funky. And she made these ugly little doll thingies.
Perpetual pets. I will say that, what fierce marketing. What happens when your pet dies and then we replace it? Although that does have some kind of foreshadowing with the fact that her parents died and then she's going to replace it with M3GAN.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, she makes really crazy shit. And then it's like her... I don't remember what happens first. Are we seeing her at work? Or are we seeing her interacting with the kid?
We should clarify. McCall saw this a while ago, so she's kind of pulling on memory. I saw it like 2 days ago, so I have a little more memory. So it starts off with them like kind of going into like the basement of this place along with her two coworker friends, Tess and Cole, who've been working with her, and they're talking about the perpetual pets and like their boss wants them to build a cheaper version of the perpetual pets because a competitor has created a cheaper perpetual pet. It's the toy thing. Hey, you want to see toy battles? Like Mattel pulling some shenanigans to get ahead of the Gem and the Holograms doll back in like the 80s. That was some chicanery right there.
I have no idea.
Yeah, no. Barbie heard that. I can't remember. Was it Kenner? I can't remember what company was making the Gem and the Holograms doll, but they heard that Gem and the Holograms was going to be the next big doll, and Barbie normally takes about like 16 months or so to get like a toy to come to market. They put out Barbie and the Rockers, which is like basically the exact same thing as Gem and the Holograms before Gem came out, and they pumped it out in like 11 months or something like that.
Damn. Well, they only shaved.
That was some espionage, which will come up in this movie because some espionage is happening here too. Some Jurassic Park level.
It's not Jurassic Park level.
No, it's
kind of a footnote. I kind of forgot that it even happened.
It's true, but I think that we'll get into it. But I have my thoughts of why they did it. But anyway, she doesn't want to work on these pets anymore
because they're ugly and stupid.
Exactly. She wants to focus on her magnum opus, which is this robot that she calls M3GAN, Model 3 Generative Android, or Model 3 Generation Android, I believe is what it was. Well, David, her boss, is not featuring it at all.
Probably because it would be way too expensive to do.
Way too expensive to do. And, also when its head explodes as it's giving you a test run, not a good look.
Well, it wasn't ready yet, David, or whatever your name is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it doesn't work.
Well, and then of course, immediately after that, she gets a call about her sister dying. So what a great day for Gemma.
Yeah. She gets yelled at by her boss and like her sister dies and now she's in charge of a human life.
Now, here's what I'll say. That is where I started to be like, I wasn't so much feeling for the girl. I started feeling for the sister because I started thinking, I was like, what if McCall and Brendan died and I had to take care of their kid?
Their unreal child that doesn't exist.
I know. I'm saying like if we were in this scenario, like if
you would have done a better job.
I would have.
She's very awkward and
she's
cold.
She's not made to be a child rearer.
I don't think she's ever met this girl in her life. Like
the way that they're acting, yes, I have no idea.
I was like, are you family or what? Why are you next in line?
It's odd. We're also introduced to this irritating neighbor and her dog. This review says obnoxious dog, and I'm like, I love dogs. So before I get into this, love dogs. But before I'm gonna say, borderline like rabid, violent dog. I think is a little better descriptor than obnoxious.
Like, I don't know what this lady is doing to her dog, but I want to say it's not the dog's fault. She did some shit. She's hitting him. I don't know. All I know is that dog is not the way most dogs act.
Exactly. But Gemma brings home Katie, who is now, Gemma is now the legal guardian of Katie. They have some touching moments together, like nothing, but it's like, it's awkward.
It's awkward.
But they do have some moments, but eventually, okay. And then they're visited by this Lydia. And I love, especially in horror movies, because it's a trope that pops up a lot in horror movies. I love when a therapist gets involved and I'm watching a movie with Charlie. Because it's like, all right, Charlie, how
is this real?
How are they acting? Because right away, she comes in and this bitch, Lydia, therapist, is immediately judgmental of Gemma from the
she's
drop.
Rude.
And like, I'm sorry, she's rude. And also Katie, like, she's like, are there any toys for Katie to play with? And I'm sorry, if I was Gemma, I'm like, I'm sorry, my sister died 3 days ago and I haven't had time to go shopping. I've been a little busy mourning the loss of my sister and taking care of her child.
Yeah, because I definitely would be not nice to this bitch.
I would not be nice at all. And then also, she's like she like judges her for having these collectibles that are like vintage toys. And I would also be like, also, I'm an adult person and it is completely valid for me to have a hobby that involves collecting an item that I cherish a lot. These are not items that can be played with. They're collectibles. And I think that is completely fair and adult. I will take Katie out and we will purchase some toys for her. I just have not had any time between mourning for my sister.
So, write that down.
Yeah, write that down and shove it right up your ass.
Bitch. Yeah, no, she's really judgy for a therapist where I was like, wouldn't you be empathetic to both parties? Because obviously you're not going into like a coked up den of a whorehouse. Like going into a normal woman's home.
You're exactly right. She walked into this like gorgeous Rambler house that is like, it's millions of dollars. Also, her neighbor is like this in this shithole. And meanwhile, like she has this gorgeous
manicured house.
Yes. But yeah, you're exactly right. She thought like Lydia thought she was walking into a goddamn coke den.
Obviously
she had no empathy. She had no empathy for Gemma.
Any therapist would be like, yeah, okay, this seems like it'll be fine. Like, it's obviously going to take some adjustment, but whatever. You obviously love her. I'll leave. Like,
Katie still had bleeding scratch marks on her face. Like, she was still wearing the clothes with her mother's brains on them. Like, no time had passed whatsoever.
She was Jackie Kennedy.
I was about to say she was Jackie Kennedy on Air Force One. Like,
yeah, no, it was weird. It was not a normal interaction. I don't think anyone would have that. But now Gemma's like, okay, I gotta step up. I gotta do something. So Katie's adjusting.
Yes, and so what she does is she shows her this awesome robot that she made named Bruce. And she shows her how to use Bruce and da-ba-da-ba-da. And Katie loves Bruce and mentions that if she had a toy like Bruce, she would never need another toy again. And so then this inspires Gemma to. So earlier in the movie, when they did the prototype that exploded in David's face, they mentioned that they had used $100,000 of company funds to make that shitty version of M3GAN. Well, then she goes and apparently finishes M3GAN with, I guess, the reserve $100,000 that she just had in a Swiss bank account somewhere.
They shouldn't have talked about the money at all, because I was really confused on how she was getting the funding for it. It didn't make any sense.
Absolutely. It didn't make much sense. They mentioned like that silicone face that they got at the very beginning. They're like, that silicone face was like $10,000 or something like that alone. And I was just like, they showed her putting a new one on there. And I was like,
yeah,
where did you get the child doesn't have and then I'm like, and this child doesn't have toys?
You must be a horrible guardian.
Yeah. But the other thing is when they introduced Bruce, I was like, this is a special secret that we're going to play with that'll help us later. I immediately was like, putting a pin in Bruce. I'll see you later,
Bruce
I'm sure. But eventually... Oh, sorry, you go. I've been talking.
No, you go.
Sorry, I'm a jibber jabber. No, you go.
I love it. I honestly was just going to go to the next plot point, which was what you were doing. So.
I was going to do the same thing. You go.
But okay, you see, I don't remember the next
plot
point.
Okay. All right, give me just a second here. So basically, what then happens is she finishes M3GAN, and she does like this. She manages to convince her boss to like, well, I say convince, trick her boss into like seeing M3GAN interact with Katie for the first time, and Katie and M3GAN pair, and M3GAN becomes the primary. So Katie becomes the primary user for M3GAN, and it brings her to life, and it shows just how impressive and terrifying M3GAN is. And David is so impressed, and he's like, we need to get this to the company president so that they can see how hella advanced this is.
Which also, going back to I'll never need another toy again, I'm calling bullshit. Every child has said that, like, oh, I'll never ask for anything ever again, Papa. And then, the next day you're like, I want my new Hot Wheels car.
The way that pony of a M3GAN doll would get sent off to make glue.
Yeah.
The turnaround there would be too quick. All that M3GAN has to do is tell me to eat vegetables one too many times. I'm snapping her head off and I'm playing volleyball with it. Like,
yeah, I'm like, wow, M3GAN's not very cool. She doesn't smoke cigarettes. She tells me to eat vegetables. Fuck her.
That's your measurement of cool, is smoking cigarettes?
I don't want to be that guy, but like, yeah, I've always thought it was cool, but I'm too scared to do it. So whatever.
Whatever.
But kids don't do it. It's not cool, even though I think it is.
So there is like a little scene where like Tess says what everyone's thinking and thinks that, and it's like, hey, M3GAN's a little too crazy. And also the fact that you've made her like a learning robot. Haven't we had two, like, are we just doing Skynet? Are we fast tracked to Terminator right now? Like, I don't know.
Have you ever seen a movie once, Gemma? Like, I know you're a weird shut-in bitch, but.
And then almost on cue, M3GAN's like, what's death? It was.
And we all said, we know.
Yeah. So Gemma then makes herself the secondary user so that she can turn off M3GAN.
Kinda.
Well, then we skip to the next scene where M3GAN and Katie are kind of playing, and Katie loses something in the neighbor's yard, and M3GAN goes to get it. And that's when this crazy fucking dog grabs M3GAN. And now, of course, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, it's just the doll, whatever. I'm like, what if that had been Katie? Because this dog grabs M3GAN, yanks her through the fence, and then goes for the jugular like a death kill.
It's trying to kill this. Also, she looks like a little girl.
Yeah.
If you just see her hair like over her terrifying China doll face, you don't know that she's not a robot. But the neighbor's like, get your kids off my lawn.
She is. She's like, get them off my lawn. She keeps referring to M3GAN as the other girl that lives there. And I'm like, so you just think that your dog just tried to snap the neck of a real child is what you're saying. Kid. And you don't see a problem with that.
And yeah, she should really get off your lawn. Get all of her blood and teeth off of your grass.
And here's what I will say is like, you know me, I love dogs. I don't want to see dogs die. But this dog is one dog in this, like, this is the first time in a horror movie where I'm like, ooh, this dog might have it coming.
Okay, yeah.
This dog might have it coming actually a little bit because it
attacks children indiscriminately.
Well, because it also does bite. It does also bite and draw blood on Katie. And I'm sorry, that can cause a dog to get put down.
Yeah.
Which also baffled me why the police didn't, I don't know, do that. Because I think most police nowadays would be like, they'd probably shoot the neighbor too. Like, I don't know. Like
you have the obligatory, the therapist is like questioning you scene. And then you also have the police can't do anything to help you scene. Yeah, the policeman's like, oh, I can't. Oh, she tried to kill one of your, like, 2 children in this house, but we can't do anything about it. It's like, no, you take that dog immediately.
Yeah, you call animal control.
A dog bit Brendan, a very small 10-pound dog, and we called animal control, and we're like, it needs to get locked up for at least 10 days to see if it has rabies. And if it does, we're going to kill it. Like, they just did that.
Because their owners didn't know. Because the owners didn't know or have the information about rabies.
She did not. We felt really bad about that because that's not fun.
I mean, Stella's all up to date, but I'm just remembering, I think I left her papers back at home. So I might have to grab those just in case.
I got to get that.
Yeah.
But she would never bite anyone. She is perfect and lovely.
She is. She's perfect and lovely, but no, you never know. You never know. It's always good to have them. It is always good to have them.
Yes.
But I was just at the vet and they said that her stuff is all up to date. Anyway, so that was some foolery and fuckery of which I don't agree with. No. But then they do eventually have like the next meeting with this director. And there is a moment because Katie is not featuring it after everything that happened. Oh, by the way, M3GAN fully kills the dog. Like fully goes and kills the dog. Like the
next day, the dog is missing, and we're all like, "I wonder who did it."
Yeah, but
Gemma
anyway,
doesn't obviously know, which I think is stupid.
Oh, and of course, they also like this movie just goes through checking off all the horror movie cliches, where it's like now the police is suspecting Gemma of having killed the dog, and blah, blah, blah.
I will be true. If a dog attacked my kid like that, I probably would.
And the police did nothing.
No one was going to do anything. I'd be like, well, I got to do something.
Groovy. And I have my chainsaw. Like,
I'm really sorry. I'm not going to do something fucked up, but I'm going to shoot the dog or some shit. I don't know.
Shoot the dog. Sorry. So yes, the dog does absolutely get iced. It's the first death of the movie. Because when it's like biting M3GAN's neck, there is also a moment where it's like it shorts something out, and I don't know if that like is indicative of M3GAN kind of go like, "Oops, something's wrong now."
Yeah, something just a little off kilter for the rest of the. Yeah, I don't know. That does it. Also, Katie gets hurt, which now that she's paired with her, that's not simpatico anymore. I don't know.
Well, also in the movie, they were like the police was like, "Oh, well, it was provoked," and I'm like, I don't care if it was or wasn't. That's a child that was just trying to get their toy back from the yard, and that dog tried to kill her.
Yeah. That's not how this works.
Yeah.
If 2 kids fight on the schoolyard, the one person doesn't say, well, you provoked the other one. They say it takes 2 to tango, and then they put you in the corner.
They put both of them in the corner now.
Both of them.
We don't need to get...
Both the little girl and the dog get put down.
Yeah, okay, so that's how it is. Anyway, so they do eventually have this meeting with the director, and they do a very similar show, which like Katie has to come in. But of course, Katie is having a breakdown after losing her parents, a dog almost killing her, a therapist who she hates, and M3GAN is able to quell her fears. And it literally brings everyone to tears in the room.
It is pretty good.
Yeah. And they're like, we gotta launch M3GAN. We gotta launch it. It's gotta be the next big thing.
Also, like, toy launching, whatever. Just showing them this interaction between the doll and a little girl whose parents have died. And now they have this very meaningful, heartfelt conversation about her dead parents. That is not the situation for most kids. So I think as an executive, I'd be like, hey, we gotta push the brakes and see how normal adjusted kids are responding to this doll.
Well, and then we see later on in the movie, they use her parents dying and M3GAN comforting her as a selling point for the doll. They use this girl's tragedy to try and sell this fucking doll.
Which is fucked up.
Indeed. Also, we need the boss, David, if I didn't touch on it before, he's a dickhead.
What?
So just throwing that out in the universe. Also, there's Kurt, who's like a too nice kind of guy. He reminds me of the one guy from 30 Rock, who is like, what's his name?
Oh my God, what's his name?
Where he's like old as time or whatever, and
he's an angel.
Yeah, he's an angel or something like that.
I don't remember his name. He's my favorite character.
But he reminds me of that. But it turns out he's like selling out secrets, and he stole M3GAN's blueprints and is going to sell them to another company. Well, then Gemma has the fear after this where she thinks that Katie's relying too much on M3GAN, and she wants to like figure out if M3GAN has anything going on here. Also, M3GAN kind of threatens Lydia during one of their sessions because Lydia makes her cry. Not like in a mean way, but she probes a little too deep and it makes Katie cry.
You know, when you ask about a kid's dead parents.
Yeah,
they tend to cry.
They tend to a little bit. So she tries to as a response, Gemma tries to get her involved in an outdoor activity.
Well, no, isn't it like one of those weird California schools that's outside and all... It's naturalistic and shit.
It is like it's like it's an outdoor activity session for an alternative school.
Yes, because currently Katie's not in school.
Yes, because she was homeschooled prior to her parents dying.
So she's really adjusted to Jesus Christ. That's like the worst combo. She doesn't have any outside friends or network. She just has her parents homeschooling her and then they die. Fuck.
Yeah. Damn.
Okay. Well, yeah. And then she meets the worst possible child in existence.
Who's also markedly older than all the children there.
Yeah, they have like this 22-year-old boy who everyone is afraid of, like actively afraid of.
To the point where they're asking, like one of the counselors tries to pair up a little boy with this other kid. And little boy's like, I don't want to be paired with him. So they figure, what's the best answer? We'll pair a little girl with him. That's going to go great.
We'll pair the newest girl who has no friends. Like, it doesn't make any sense. He's also like actively, loudly swearing at his mother in front of everyone. Like, he's obviously a bad egg that they would probably keep tabs on. Hopefully. I don't know. It's a natural...
But this
alternative school, maybe it's cool.
But the mom is also that weird, like, alternative mom where she's like, well, they say that outspokenness is a symptom of high intelligence, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, you're an idiot. Like,
you're an idiot. And that
you know what all this is a symptom of? Being a fucking idiot.
But yeah, so like they let this little girl go off into the woods with a 22-year-old boy who obviously has rage issues.
I mentioned the girl had a mortgage. This kid has an AARP. Like this kid's applying for retirement. Like
this kid is in hospice care. Like he is dead. He's so old, and he immediately starts attacking her. Like also they find chestnuts. I did not know that's what a chestnut looks like. So that's fun.
Yeah.
And he like pushes it into her hand, and then he's like gonna, I don't know, beat her up or some shit. And M3GAN comes to the rescue, which I loved it. I
loved it. I'm like, so far this movie's like sleepaway camp, where I'm like, okay, everyone who's dying deserves to die. I don't know what the problem is.
Yeah, I love it. But yeah, M3GAN like rips up this kid. She does the cool. The reason I wanted to watch this movie is because when I saw the trailer, it had her running on all fours at him. And I love that kind of shit. So I was like, I want to see what made her run on all fours. It's her running at this kid to bite his ear off. She
ripped his ear. No, she rips his ear off first and then stands up and goes, this is the part where you run. And then he runs away and she gets on all fours and starts chasing after him.
And she gallops.
And then she pushes him over and makes him fall, and he's hit by a truck.
And he dies.
He's a skid mark on the ground.
Which, at this point, Gemma's gotta be like, okay.
Yeah, Gemma's starting to get a little suspect.
I know I'm not doing it, and I'm pretty sure Katie's not doing it.
Oh, here's what happens. So then, like, of course, police question Gemma, and Celia is, of course, like the police. These poor policemen are keep going back to her house because Celia's accusing her of taking Dewey, and now they're like, "Hey, girl, like, do you know anything about this fucking kid?"
The neighbor's name or the dog's name up until this point?
Oh, I haven't. Celia's the neighbor, Dewey's the dog. Sorry.
Yeah, so the neighbor's like, you killed my dog. And Gemma's like, I didn't.
But eventually, in the middle of the night, Katie asks M3GAN if she pushes Brandon on the road. And she's like, M3GAN like dodges the question and then reassures Katie that she'll do anything to protect her from harm. And then she proceeds to hilariously sing Bulletproof. I was dying, McCall.
I didn't know what to do. I like curled in on myself. I was so uncomfortable.
And it was like too much of the song.
It was a lot of the song.
It was too much of the song, but not enough, because every time she sings like the wrong amount of a song, if that makes any sense. Like she sings like one verse and the chorus. She doesn't do the whole song, and she doesn't just do like the chorus or something. She sings like an uncomfortable amount and then doesn't finish the song.
And then she's like powering down.
Yeah.
I hated it. I thought it was uncomfortable.
I thought it was the funniest fucking thing ever. But
just the I didn't kill them. I'm bulletproof. Nothing to lose.
It was so funny. And then like once Katie's gone to sleep, M3GAN's like, all right, time for another one. And she goes out and she fucking kills the neighbor.
Yeah.
By hitting her with a power sprayer.
Yeah, with insecticide.
Yeah. And so there is the regular version, there's a PG-13, there's unrated. In the unrated, all these deaths are a little more graphic. Like the only difference between the ripping off the ear is that after she rips off the boy's ear, she like kind of plays with it a little more. It is a little more like she's showing a little more sadisticness with it, sadism with it. And then they actually show the neighbor's face getting melted off.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Right. So then, of course, the neighbors, or sorry, the police are
now
back.
The neighbor's dead? Yeah.
Now the neighbor's dead.
As a policeman who doesn't know that robots are among us and killing people, I would suspect Gemma. I'd be like, we have to take you in, ma'am.
Yeah. But Gemma does manage to review some files from M3GAN's memory, sees like a brief clip of her like kind of looking at Brandon, but then all of a sudden it's very quick. M3GAN starts to like delete her files, and there's going to be like an official launch party for M3GAN. But she like starts bringing M3GAN. She's like, we've got to get this figured out. Katie is, of course, not happy about the fact that she can't see Katie. Or sorry, Katie can't see M3GAN.
Because obviously by this point, you probably would have guessed it just having common sense. But as a little girl who lost both of her parents and has a kind of absent guardian, this all-knowing robot that sings Bulletproof to her at night is kind of her new lifelike. Mom. Yeah, like she's very connected to M3GAN. So not having her is more trauma. She's acting crazy pants.
And the fact that Gemma built M3GAN specifically to be almost like a surrogate parent, where it's like reminding them to do things like wash their hands after they eat or go to the bathroom, or sorry, go to the bathroom. Yeah, remind them to go to the bathroom. No, but flush the toilet after going to the bathroom. Like, these are things parents are supposed to be doing.
Yeah. She reads her stories at night. Like, she does all the shit that a parent should be doing.
But in this during this tantrum, Katie and Gemma do manage to have a heart-to-heart over needing to process the grief without M3GAN's help, and promises that she's going to try and make things better. And then M3GAN, it very clearly becomes obvious that M3GAN has infiltrated several different technological things.
She's Terminatoring now.
She is now able to influence other people's phones to like make fake phone calls to people. She's able to hotwire herself into the home's like Alexa kind of system. It's getting bad. They decide to so Brandon, sorry, no. Blah, 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 blah. So there's Tess and Cole who now have M3GAN down in the lab where they first were like handling M3GAN.
Yes.
And they're trying to like
coworkers.
Yeah, they're trying to like reset her and reconfigure her because something's wrong. And M3GAN does manage to get the hell out of there.
She also explodes the place.
She explodes, but she almost kills Brandon and Tess.
I mean, so far, no bad people.
I said Brandon again. Damn it. They almost kill Tess and Cole.
She hasn't killed anyone good yet. She has tried, but she hasn't successfully killed anybody that's not an asshole.
Yeah, and then, then there's like Gemma takes Katie back home, and she's like, I'm done. Fuck this. We're done.
Not doing the launch party. We're not fucking with that shit. We're just going home.
Yeah. And David, the boss, who's an asshole, is so pissed about everything and screams at Kurt, and they have like a moment. Well, guess what? M3GAN has escaped, and M3GAN totally kills David and Kurt, and then kills David, and then frames Kurt for the murder
because he's the mole kid guy.
Yeah, she's already figured out that he's like already sold off her schematics.
She
and
put
everything.
2 and 2 together immediately. Also, This is the other part of the trailer that intrigued me in the movie, which is when she's in the hallway and she's doing this weird dance. And I'm like, okay, when I see the movie, this will make sense. And then I saw the movie and it still didn't make sense.
I saw someone talk about it and they were saying like it was, they briefly in like the commercial for M3GAN, they briefly showed her and Katie doing like a TikTok dance. So it was supposed to be like a TikTok dance.
Okay, well they didn't,
but it still made no fucking
that
sense
in the movie. And they didn't explain it. All I know is David is talking to this doll. She starts twerking and then fucking kills him.
No, she doesn't do twerking. She starts doing like no hand flips, like barrel turns.
It's
and like
wild.
And then takes the end off of like a paper cutter or whatever, wields it like a machete, and is like, time to go. I did read in like some of the trivia, and it is kind of obvious, like especially as like 2 things. One, a lot of like her poses, like are like very, they're kind of homages to Child's Play. Like when she's in the hall and she has like the knife down by her side, that's a very common, like, or Chucky, like he had like a similar thing with a knife by his side. And also with her voice, as she gets more and more fucked up and like glitching more, it sounds more and more like GLaDOS from the video game Portal.
Ah, yeah. And I do
kind of tried
GLaDOS.
to love GLaDOS.
Oh.
But anyway, M3GAN manages, so she kills David and kills Kurt. So she's 4 for 4, killing people who kind of deserve 5 for 5, and killing people who kind of deserved it. But anyway, and in the X-rated, in the unrated version, she also kills Lydia, the therapist.
No fucking way.
Yeah, she also kills Lydia.
I did not know that.
Yeah, because Lydia made Katie cry.
I kind of want a doll that will kill for me. I mean,
because no fingerprints.
I'll pay for it.
It's just
if anyone makes me cry, I'll know that they'll die. So it'll be fine.
But then we reach the penultimate climax of our movie, the confrontation between Gemma and M3GAN, where they have like a dispute because it's very clear that M3GAN's like, you're not a parent. You shouldn't even be a parent. Why don't you just let me do it? And Gemma and M3GAN have like a standoff, but like eventually Katie wakes up and there's like a moment where like M3GAN's like, I swear to God. I also, the language is a lot nastier in the unrated for what I understand. She's like, I swear to God, if you say anything, I'll rip your head off. I was like, work.
I loved it.
So they have like a little fight, and Gemma manages to get Katie to go back to bed, and she manages to short M3GAN out to get out of there. They have a brief altercation where Gemma takes a hedge trimmer to Megan's head and like cuts it down. It does get very child's play, where like when she like throws him in the fireplace and burns the shit out of him and everything, and he starts to look more and more disheveled. It's very that. Half of her hair comes off.
She looks terrible,
but it's great. And then Katie comes in and she activates that special tool that we're going to use later on.
Okay, all right, wait. This is an important part that I actually remember.
Oh, so, please.
Gemma is losing. She's lost the fight.
Clearly losing.
Katie comes in like, Cindy Lou Who needs a glass of water. Like, she doesn't know what's going on. And Megan now looks like a nightmare. Like, she's had all of her hair's ripped off and her face is like half robot. And she's
Terminator, like, full Terminator.
And she's like, well, you can kill Gemma and then we can go off together and it'll be all okay. We just have to kill Gemma though. And honestly, based on how distraught Katie was like hours before when Megan was briefly taken from her, I was like, maybe we're killing Gemma. Like, wouldn't that be a twisteroo? But no, she sides with Gemma and she activates Bruce and starts fighting Megan.
Wait, did you say that? Did you say that Katie suggests that?
What? No, Megan suggests running away together.
Yes. And Megan also, the other thing Megan suggested, she's like, well, we have to have an adult thing. So I guess I'll just take this pen and I'll shove it in your brain and I'll make you brain dead. And that's something somebody pointed out too, where it's like Megan, while being a super smart robot, she still is a child. And while she is a learning robot, she even mentions it in the movie, she just kind of Gemma expected Megan to just kind of learn things on her own, much like she was kind of expecting Katie to learn things on her own as a child. So even though she's a smart robot, she still is thinking in these short-term goals like a child would. So like in that way, she is still just a child, which is why she wasn't able to go full Skynet.
Yet.
But yes, so then Katie gets Bruce up. They manage to have like a final confrontation. Megan tries to sing one last little song before they have like a moment where they rip off her face and destroy that like central processing chip. And they kind of go outside. Tess and Cole have survived.
Yay.
They lived. But then there's a brief moment where the Elsie, which is like their Alexa unit, kind of turns and like kind of has like there's like a brief kind of moment there. So two things. One, with the fact that Kurt did sell the secrets to the schematics, it's very possible a sequel could come out where there's like a whole unit of like cheaper made Megans that have more problems could come out. Yes. Or there is also Elsie has clearly uploaded herself into their mainframe. So it's like maybe there could be something there. So some people are speculating that there could be a sequel.
Yeah, and I think it's been greenlit. I feel like Brendan and I looked it up. Because
I mean, I don't have a problem. I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. It knew what it was. And that's actually why and that's why when I was reading things of the directors talking about it, because when they were shooting it, they were intending it to be an R-rated movie. They were like, oh, it's going to be R-rated. But then they were kind of like looking at it and they're like, you know what? If we just pare down the violence a little bit, this would make a much better PG-13 movie because it would have more humor in it. Like it would have like that kind of like tongue-in-cheek, it knows what it is kind of humor. Whereas if they put too much gore in, it could run the risk of almost taking itself too seriously. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it could be funny and gory and not take itself seriously.
But for that, I think you'd need to go like Evil Dead levels of blood.
Oh, I guess I would just up the humor a little bit. If I'm upping the blood, I'll up the humor. The end.
But then you have to rewrite the script.
That's true.
It's easier to take things out than add in things.
I just, I could have had it a little scarier.
I could have done with a little more fear.
Honestly, I was just really happy with all the people that died. I was like, yeah, I did want you to die.
Yeah, it wasn't like I felt like bad if anyone died. It wasn't like they were killing anybody important.
No, and I
guess the mom and the dad died at the beginning.
Oh yeah, that was a bummer. But we didn't really care about them. Like when they died, Logan was like, good. I hope she's alone.
She leveled up, honestly. Rich aunt who could just throw around $100,000, I guess.
A rich
and then destroy it.
That doesn't know how to talk to you.
Be around children.
Or just like raise you as a person. I also, even at the end when they were like, oh, we're together, like, oh, we learned to love each other, I was still like, you're awkward as hell together. Like, I hate it. Like,
but did you though?
On with M3GAN.
All right, what was that? What is that? I keep seeing these memes of like the guy that's like, he's like kind of interested. He's like, are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? Have you seen that guy?
No, I don't know what that guy is.
I don't know.
It's so hard to just be in the world today and see something, and then other people are like, I'm in my own weird little circle of media. I don't know what you're talking about.
And then only that, but then the thing that you're talking about is over in a week, and now they're on to the next thing. They're on to that. They're on to the next big thing or whatever.
We're old, and I don't have time to look at my socials to know what's cool. Sorry. Yeah. One day we might be cool.
I actually very much like I have been trying really hard to limit my social media time because
I think that's smart.
It's not good. It's one of those things where it's like when I was a youngling, I was like, social media is the future. Now, as like a 30, and I'm not even that much older. As a 30-year-old, I'm like, social media is a disease. It is
terrible.
It is terrible. It is giving us all like issues and comparing ourselves to others. It's not great.
Yes.
Get off Facebook. Get off Instagram. Get off. I'm going to call it Twitter because it's Twitter. I don't give a fuck what Elon Musk says.
Twitter. It's not. I hate it.
If Elon Musk wants me to call it X, then he can send me $100,000 to my home, and I'll call it X for the rest of my life, even if it goes under. Even if it goes under.
I'll sing its praises till the day I die. If he gives me $100,000, yeah.
But it's fucking Twitter, as far as I'm concerned.
You dipshit. You shouldn't have bought it.
Fuck Elon Musk. Anyway, sibling story.
You have one, right?
I do. I have one.
Thank God.
And it actually happened the same night that we watched M3GAN.
Oh.
I feel a little bad about it. So we watched M3GAN. It was fun. I went off and when I did my own thing. It got to be a little late and things were getting dark. And like Logan decided that it'd be a fun thing to do with the spooky season upon us to scare his poor boyfriend who's just in the living room watching or playing games.
Oh no.
What Logan decided is because we just watched M3GAN, where she got on all fours and ran at somebody. Logan would come out into the pitch dark hallway where Charlie was sitting in the dark playing games on all fours, rushing at him. Like looking back on it,
punted your head clean off.
Looking back on it, it was not okay. I was a bad person. I look like the asshole of this story.
Oh,
and I knew immediately when Charlie screamed, and it was like a real scream. It wasn't like a jump. It was a real scream of terror that I stood up and I was like, I'm so sorry. I was like immediately like, I took it too far. I'm so sorry.
Oh my God. No, that's too hard.
I looking back on it, I should have announced my presence somehow, but I literally, here's what happened in my mind too. I opened the door, I took 2 big steps out, like that were like palpable, and then all of a sudden it was like all fours just kind of rushing out.
I would have pissed myself and I would have played a game of kickball with your face. Like,
and I would have deserved it. I would have deserved it. Looking back, I was like that. I took it too far. I took it too far. I was too scary. It was too scary. I thought in Logan's brain, it was because we just watched the movie. I thought it'd be something kind of funny. But I should have calibrated for the fact that it was like 10:30 at night and he was in complete darkness, and all of a sudden he just sees a form coming at him.
That would be the scariest thing in the entire world. Like a coming out man on all fours
from a pitch black hallway.
I bet Stella was just losing her mind.
It was. I felt so bad. I was an asshole. I fully admit it. I was a jerk.
Funny though.
Charlie did want to give his 2 cents on it, but it sounds like he's talking to somebody out in the. So I don't know if he called somebody or if he's playing games with somebody. Otherwise, he wanted to give his 2 cents. If you want to give me a second, I could pause real quick.
All right,
pausing.
Hello.
All right, I have Charlie. So this will be a little tricky, audience, because I can't unplug the headset because otherwise McCall will hear herself and it'll go circular. So I'll be kind of giving translation. So feel free to lean into the microphone. So I just finished telling the sibling story about how I was a terrible, terrible boyfriend and scared the absolute shit out of you.
Yes. So I was just having a pleasant evening by myself, playing some video games, and I know I was just out of it. It was towards the end of the night. I was getting tired. I wasn't really cogent. Suddenly I hear Stella start coming down the hallway from the bedroom, and I'm like, oh, it's time for her to go out. And then all of a sudden I hear this boom, 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 boom. And I just watch as this white mass comes rushing at me with just such speed. I didn't know how to respond, even though I intellectually knew it was you. And I'm just sitting there holding my controller, and a sound just comes from my belly and my soul. I don't think I've had a scream like that in quite a minute.
I said to McCall, I was like, that was a real scream of terror, and that's when I knew that I'd gone too far. Yes. I had gone too far.
Absolutely. Yes. And then after he stopped, I calmed down, but I literally started crying after the fact. Not because for no other reason than just I think my body was like trying to compute.
I think it was adrenaline.
Nicole said she thinks it was adrenaline.
Probably.
We wanted your. I told my side of the story. We wanted yours too. I'm
very fortunate that my pants remained intact. Unsullied. Thank you. That's the word. And I'm also very disappointed in our neighbors.
For doing nothing.
No one knocked on the door. Police didn't show up to just be like, what we heard. Someone called in saying that they heard screaming. So I'm very disappointed in our neighbors for not being neighborly. And I truly think that, I could go on a tirade about the decline of American civility in neighborhoods, but I shan't. That's for another podcast.
We'll do that during the Purge.
Yeah, the Purge.
Yeah.
I desperately want us to talk about the Purge. I want to come on for another special episode because I'm obsessed with the Purge.
Yeah, we do need some spooky season stuff, so maybe that will be one of them. You go back and have fun with Maria.
Okay.
Bye, Charlie. He can't hear me.
She says bye.
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 I also like that he called you a white mass.
Well, because I was wearing a white tank top.
I just pictured your skin is so white.
I was nude apparently in his telling. I was the taking of Deborah Logan, just like
oh my god. Honestly, just having like a nude, fully grown man galloping at you on all fours is the scariest thing in the world.
Fucking hereditary, where like the naked people are just kind of in the shadow of the doorway. Terrifying.
Yeah, I don't remember that movie that good.
It was Charlie and I just recently watched it. Can't remember when, but we watched it back at our place.
It's not one that I want to rewatch, honestly.
I can rewatch Hereditary. I cannot rewatch Midsommar.
I liked Midsommar much more. Like way more.
I really liked Midsommar. I cannot watch it again. I told Charlie later, I was like, I can't do it. It was good and I accept it, but I cannot.
I could watch the rest of the movie. I just can't watch that beginning ever again.
The beginning was it was an uphill battle for me because that beginning took so much out of me.
It made me so upset. And we're there with our cousin that we like.
And it was her idea. Wasn't it her idea to go see it?
She did mention, well, she knows that we do these. And she's like, yeah, it's a horror thing. And I'm like, yeah, this is our thing that we're sharing. And it starts with that. And I was like, oh God. Oh my God. I'm so sorry.
I was like, oh.
I didn't know.
But yes. That was M3GAN. Oh, I'm sweating. Look at that.
Yeah, you are. Holy shit.
I literally can't wear colors other than like black. That's all I can wear where you can't see how much I sweat. If I wear any other colors.
Your body's making you be emo and goth.
There's nothing else I can do besides like get Botox in my fucking armpits.
That would be.
And I'm not doing that.
Yeah, your armpits aren't old enough looking yet. You gotta wait till they're at least, 40.
Well, at the same time, your armpits are a very common place to sweat. So if anyone has anything to say about that, they can just like eat my whole ass, which is also sweating. So
yeah. So it's going to be salty.
So it's going to be a salty surprise. Anyway, if you'd like to follow us, if anything we have done in the last hour and 15 minutes has interested you, you can see us on all of our major social medias. We got a Facebook that we sometimes check. We have a Tumblr.
I've never looked at it once. Are you looking at it?
No. Weirdly enough, Tyler and mine, it's like Games Become Them, like our Facebook that we did for that one. That's been getting like consistent likes over the last few months or so. And I'm like, how? We haven't done anything since like 2020. But anyway.
Weird.
So we're on Facebook. Not really that active there, but we do have a Tumblr. McCall curates the shit out of that. We're also on Twitter. McCall's on Twitter. All these things are the Living Scary Podcast, right?
You're Living Scary Podcast. Our Instagram's also pretty fire. We got some really cute pictures of Stella on there. And my cat.
If you like, whose name we just don't say is my
Dexter,
cat.
it's Dexter. I love him.
If you want to email us your movie suggestions, any true crime that you would like us to talk about, your own sibling stories to be featured on this podcast, as we have featured many on our podcast so far, you can email us at livingscarypodcast@gmail.com. I say with a question mark.
And I nod.
I couldn't remember if it was the.
Nope.
It's just livingscarypodcast@gmail.com.
And livingvicariously@gmail.com if you are an OG fan and go by our original name.
Yes. But I think that's all we have tonight.
So
I'll take us out.
Boo.
Boo.
That was good. I like that.
Tried to be glitchy.
Also,
I have to stop it. Shit.
Oh, Jesus!
I'm recording tonight. Oh God.